here's that intake manifold. I ripped off the motor earlier today. If you saw it in the video, I don't know. If not, I got one stud that's all stripped out, so we're going to fix that right now. Some people get weary about fixing things like this. It's really not that big of a deal if you got the right stuff. I got a helicoil kit here. Not too bad. But we're going to have to drill this hole a little bit bigger, and then we're going to re-tap it with new threads that are oversized, and then it's got an insert that will allow me to thread in a new stud. So we'll go through and do that one now. Other than that, I've been running around working today, and then grabbed a trans jack to put that trans back in. You probably saw it in the earlier video when it did slide off of the scissor lift. The motorcycle trans jack that I was temporarily using. Helps to have two people with you. I was out here by myself yesterday, so not surprised. It doesn't bother me. Nothing broke. It's all good. Got a little lucky on that one. Would not recommend going that way unless you have to. In my case yesterday, I had to. So it is what it is. Things happen. Address it and move on. So it's this one here that we're going to have to retap. One of the studs pulled through. You should run studs on these. I highly recommend it. Anytime you're tuning something that's going to be taken on and off regularly, you want to have a steel stud in here. I never put them on. I haven't really messed with this manifold all that much on the van. The truck, I play with that a little bit more. But on this, it's such a pain to get in and out of the van. Ideally, I'm going for something long haul trips, just get in and ride it like it's a new car, even though it's not at all. But we'll go from there. Just sit tight, let me grab a drill and get started on this, and we'll show you how to do that. In this tap kit, I have, this is a standard coarse thread, 1/4, 5/16, 3/8, 7/16, up to 1/2 inch. Got a bunch of inserts that come with it, as well as a little tap handle and everything else. They also provide you the drill bits that you need. Do not use I'm tapping a 5/16 hole into this manifold. It was 5/16 18 coarse thread. Should be, like I said, a steel stud. You want a stud in here. That just means you pull the bolt out. You're not doing steel to aluminum. Aluminum's substantially softer. In this kit, they give you the appropriate drill bit that you need. This drill bit is 5/16. However, the inserts require and the tap require a specific size. So I like the kits. They come with everything. This one was way cheaper than what it would have been to buy every one of the tap helicoil kits that they sell at the auto parts store. So we got that. I'll drill through this now. There's not much thread, so it shouldn't take much. Just try and drill it as straight as possible. You will make a bunch of aluminum bits, so make sure you're going to give everything a thorough cleaning, but we'll worry about that later. Now you got a fresh, clean hole in here. So then we're going to take our tap that is also included in the kit. I'm going to re-tap this to the size that it needs, the oversize for the threads that we're going to use. So let me grab a tap socket real quick and I'll be right back. Alright, so there's a bunch of different ways to do this. I got a set of tap sockets here. Strongly invest in getting some of them if you're doing a lot of stuff that does require some thread repair. But this is your standard T-handle tap. Just line this up, make sure she goes in straight. It is really nice doing this on aluminum. Aluminum is substantially easier to tap than steel. With a fresh tap, everything tends to cut a lot easier. Definitely struggled on older taps or worn out taps or cheap ones. These ones tend to work a lot better. These were not that expensive. Again, I think I got these on Amazon or something as a trial one for a couple of parts that I needed to get done, but I've been really happy with it. Use this a ton on a bunch of the older Harley stuff, but for the price you pay, this is a fraction of the cost. I've paid more for a single tap than I did this entire set, so check that out on Amazon. If I was using these every single day, I would probably upgrade and get better ones, but for hot rod and motorcycle stuff where you got something that's just kind of broken or stuck, these make all the difference in the world. And I don't have to think about it, I got a full set, so don't have to run out and spend a ton of money on different stuff. And when you're working the tap through, you want to oil these up a little bit. I did that prior to turning the camera on. Just work your way down, forward, back, because you are cutting new threads for the insert that's going to go in a second. And this is really not that deep. Back this out of here. Flip it, take the aluminum shavings out. Alright, now we got fresh cut threads in there. Don't know how much of this will show up, but you got a nice thread in there. It is bigger than the other ones, the stock ones. Here's the one we just tapped. Right there. Here's the stock size one. So we're a little bigger than we're supposed to be, but that's alright. I just gotta find the right size inserts. All right, and the kit comes with these little insert ones. You got a little tail here, right in the middle there. Hopefully you guys can see that. There's a tail right in the middle. This catches onto the tail, holds it, lets you thread it right into the hole. Sink it down just below the top of it. Then they give you these little punches. I don't really know why they give you so many, because everyone's going to be pretty close to the same. And you want to just take a hammer. I don't have one, so I'm going to use a socket. Right there, you bend the little tang out. Now you have a fresh set of threads in there. Here's a 5/16 bolt. Just like that. Threads in, nice and tight, not slipping around like it used to be. And that will work. I'm most likely going to put some new studs in this just because it's one less thing to worry about. Now I got to clean this up and prep it for going back on the motor. I pulled this side gasket up. Everything's super clean in here. If you notice, some people go crazy with RTV and put it on everything. I had no RTV in the center section, which is why this is as clean as it is. RTV around the water jacket. That's really all you need. Everything else going through here is air. Don't go crazy on the inside. You don't need to slather the whole thing up and have the thing smothered in silicone. Your water passages, just peace of mind. In theory, the gasket should seal it, but if everything's not freshly machined, it's just peace of mind. So I'll RTV around the water jackets just to make sure it seals up proper. There's the old one again. Raw through here. I never had intake leaks or anything like that. So grab a razor and start scraping away at this. This is an aluminum manifold, so don't go crazy. It's soft. A fresh razor will cut right into it. Don't do too much on this. It hasn't been on too long. If you're dealing with a steel manifold, it might be a little bit different, or if you're dealing with a bunch of other stuff, something that's been on the car for years and years and sitting hot, cold, might be a little bit worse. But this one's not too bad. I did this earlier this summer. when the van motor blew up, and I had to do a quick rush swap. Yep. Looks like somebody's stopping by. Hold on, I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. Be good to your neighbors. You never know what comes along. Sometimes people know people. That guy just stopped by. He's got a truck that I'm buying here pretty soon, hopefully, if all works out. Just came back from looking at a bike, and I guess his truck's making a little bit of noise, but you never know what you're gonna get. Especially if you're working out of neighborhoods, you don't want to piss people off. So we're just going through and knocking all this stuff off. I stopped using the cork gaskets on these China walls. Big old Vita silicone tends to work a little bit better, a lot faster. You don't have to worry about them squishing out nearly as much. Don't know how long I'm gonna make this video because it's really not that fun watching people scrape gaskets off. And just rubbing a fresh razor over it and cleaning everything up. But don't skimp on it. Don't leave a bunch of crap on there. It's gonna bite you in the ass later. Razor blades are cheap. Fresh razor makes much easier work of this, so don't skimp on those. Our initial passes here take them off pretty good, but once they get worn out, you kind of get those grooves and edges in here where it wants to dig into the aluminum. You don't want that. I'm trying to take the gasket material off, not the metal. I'm gonna try and get all of this prepped tonight. Ideally, if I have time, I'll get the intake back on the car tonight, but I'm not positive if that's gonna happen. But I am shooting to try and drop that motor back in tomorrow. So stay tuned, I'll make another video of the reassembly part. Fresh razor. I'll use a better scraper on some of the Harley stuff that I do. Just cast iron or something like that when it's steel parts. Aluminum stuff's pretty soft. You really shouldn't need all that much to break all these free. It's still not fun. Nobody enjoys it. Everybody wants to assemble things and build things, but the prep on the backside's always the worst part. Normally when you're doing all this, I would definitely recommend pulling off this thermostat housing as well. Thermostats are cheap, gaskets are cheap. I would definitely recommend replacing, putting a fresh one in, especially if the car's been sitting for a while. In this case, again, unfortunately, I just did this swap last summer, so I got less than a year on this motor and trans setup. I'd be a little bit more upset about it if I spent a bunch of money and freshened everything up, but we blew the van up coming back from Van Nationals last summer, and it wasn't quite at the fall-winter project, so I finished swapping the motor into my truck. And I really don't like having cars that don't move. You don't have to run all that well. You can deal with project cars or kind of ongoing things, but they got to be able to start, run, and move, otherwise it's just a pain, especially when you're working out of your house. You gotta shop up the road too, but again, can't afford to tie up lifts and tie up stuff that makes us money for my own stuff. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna hit this with a quick flap disc real quick. Light one of those roll-locks. Clean up these surfaces a little bit better. I'm not cutting into it. I'm just gonna give it a good clean and then start blowing all this out.